So how many have enjoyed this series? I love the 90s so far. All right, it's been a fantastic series. What we've done, first of all, many of us, I was 15 to 25 in the 90s. Some of you were younger than that. Some of you were older than that. We're not going to make light of that, either one of those. It is what it is. Some of us watched Saved by the Bell, some of us didn't. You know what I'm saying? That's how we're going to kind of differentiate. But here's the thing. The 90s were like many decades, made a huge impact on my life, as maybe it did on your life. And one of the things about impact are the things that impact you tend to remember. So what we've done in this series is we've taken our core values and we're focusing on those core values, what we are as a church for the 6 weeks of the series. So far we've done 2 weeks. And one of those core values was shared burden, and that was Mr. Al Dancy brought it that week. And then last week, Dr. Corrine Menino brought the heat with intimacy with God. This week, what we've done, by the way, is I've taken 6 of our key influences in our church, people who you know and who are a part of our church and who are doing things and making things happen. And so that's what this series is all about. Now, this week, Mrs. Angela Rogers is going to share with us. She has been a part of this church. Yeah, go ahead and give her. Come on. She's been a part of our church for many years, the last couple of years. She moved back from Arizona and has been a huge part of what God is doing here. So let's give her a huge hand and listen intently what God has to say to us.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. How we doing? Is that song good or what? It's really hard to come up here and preach after that song. You just want to go in there and just stay with God for a long time, that's for sure. Anybody touch your heart like that, like it did me? No? Don't you just want to just sit there for a long time? I do. I know that. So, 90s. I don't know how I got in this crew. Just a tad bit older. Just a tad bit. 80s was my thing, okay? Yeah. Remember E.T., Knight Rider, Breakfast Club, bright colors, headbands, long socks. Remember those? How about Pac-Man? Yeah. Thriller?
Donkey Kong.
Yeah, Donkey Kong. And MTV was born during that time. Rubik's Cube, who can do that? Anybody? Yeah, not me. And my favorite, the Cabbage Patch Kids. Check this out. You got a picture for me? Do you remember the Cabbage Patch Kids? No? Can you imagine if I got cloned? Oh my goodness, this place would be crazy. Yeah, Cabbage Patch Kids, those were awesome. There actually was one that did look like Carrie a little bit, so. Let me just tell you a little bit about myself. If you haven't figured out yet, I'm very active, very outgoing. I was always involved in something growing up all the time. Whether I was single, married, whatever, I got to be active, as you haven't figured that out yet. Maybe some of you know me, maybe you don't, but you'll find out. I used to cheerlead myself. I was a majorette. I've done, worked in youth group for, 15 plus years. So I did all those crazy things of charades. Remember the picture charades? Maybe you don't, maybe you didn't do this, but in our time we did picture charades, and we go out and you'd have to get pictures on these different places. And one of the ones we had to do was on the top of McDonald's, the D. You had to get up there and get a picture. Yeah, we didn't get quite up there because we got in trouble before we got to that point. We got about halfway up. But we did all these crazy things. I was involved in team building with youth in school. I did high school. I taught gym, all grades. I taught K4, so I could act like a 4-year-old if I wanted to all day long. I never grow up, as you can tell. You would know that I won't say how old I am. So in camp, we did these team building things. It was really amazing. We used to go off and take a crew of kids that had really excelled in school, and we'd take them off to a camp, and they'd spend some time together learning how to trust each other, how to work together as a team, and it was an amazing time to be a part of that as well as witness that. One of my favorite times, though, in my life was a rafting trip. Anybody ever been whitewater rafting? Okay, so as you, some of you know, some of you don't know, I'll tell you some of the things we did. So you would get all excited, you get a group of you to go, right? Oh, this is gonna be awesome, we can get away from the kids, we have a time out, we'll be out in nature, we're gonna get a boat and float and laugh and have a good time. So you pack up, get ready to go, you take off and you go there and you laughing and traveling 2 hours to get wherever you gotta go, out in the boonies way far away. And you pack in, you check in, do all that stuff. The next morning, you wake up and you have to sign all these waiver releases. You sign your life away, you sign away any recourse of lawyers. I mean, everything you could think of, like, what? And it's like 3 pages long. And you're like, okay, what did I sign up for? Anybody remember that? That went, it's like, oh my God, okay, so, all right, we can get past this, no problem. We signed our dotted line. Hope to God everything works out fine. Can't be that bad, it's just water, right? What's the big deal? So we signed that and they put us in a little bus, not a little yellow bus, okay? We weren't like that. So we take off. So we go down the road and keep on going and keep on going. Before you know it, there's nobody around. It's just woods. And they drop you off, and there's water. I'm like, is this one way to get rid of you? They take you far out in the woods already? Okay. Now when I was feeling fine after getting past the waiver, now I have to find out being out in the woods, and who's going to help me if something happens, I fall over, of course. You know, somebody's going to fall over usually. So you get in there, long story short, they teach you how to, you know, the guide stands up in front of you and teaches you all the things you got to know about the rafting. You know, they yell at you. There's one guide that sits in the raft, and he's the one that's the lead that tells you what to do when you're in that raft. So we get in the raft, and everybody's got their helmets on, their vests on, more security. Everybody getting this feel yet? Okay, so we get in the raft. Next thing you know, we're staying in the low water, and we practice going backwards, all back, all forward, all right, left, whatever they're doing. They're calling out all these different commands. And then he says, okay, this is one that's really important. This one's called, hold on, okay? This one means you get way down in the boat. You're not sitting up on the edge. You want to get way down the side, and you hold on to that rope that's on the side. There's a rope all the way around the raft. You hold on to that as tight as you can, and you're supposed to take your foot and tuck it under the little plastic part that's behind you. That's to keep you in, supposedly. Okay, well, I'm feeling really excited about going on this trip now. How about you? So we take off. Everybody knows all this stuff, and we take off, and we go through this trip. We're having a good old time, and we practice in the shallow, and now we're going out for the real deal. So we're riding, having a good old time. Next thing you know, the water gets a little, oh yes, and by the way, as the guide's pedaling, the level of the water is 4 out of 5 today. It's not the 3 that we thought. So the higher the level is, the more rough the water is, the more the dam let the water out that week. So, all right, I think we're in for a good ride today. Should be a lot of fun. So we travel down, getting a little bumpy, and everybody's smiling, having a good time. He's calling out the cues, all right, all left. We're spinning around, having a good time. And then he says, okay, now we got this thing coming up. It's nothing big, but just kind of like a swirl. Kind of pulls in the boat. So we don't want to go over that part. We want to go to the right or to the left. Okay? So we got plenty of notice. So we start, he calls it out, makes us all go to the right, go around. Everybody's like, yeah, we did it. We didn't go through, we didn't get pulled. So we're doing fine, running down the river, having a good old time. Next thing you know, you're like, now it's gonna get a little rough here. There's nothing to worry about. It's just an area where all the water kind of comes together. So you wanna make sure your foot's stuck in the back. You're really locked in, okay? So it's nice they give us a warning. So we tuck all in, everybody's looking around, holding on to the side, and we go through. One couple of people bump up, they didn't lock in, and they were fine. We go on through. Next thing, we see there's, mind you, it's not just our raft going, there's like loads and loads of rafts that keep going out before us. So there's a couple of them in front of us, so we can always see what they're doing first, if they're making it, if they're not making it, somebody bumps out, somebody's taken. So everybody's doing fine in front of us. So we come to a big one now. He said, this one's kind of like, you gotta hold on. He doesn't have much time to say, you're trying to listen, trying to lock in. He's like, you're gonna go over the edge. It's kind of rough. We could fold, but you'll be all right. What? Just paddle hard. Everybody paddle hard, paddle hard. So we're paddling like crazy, going like mad. We fly over that thing, little bit in half, and fine, dandy, no problem. We're doing good. Like, you guys are doing awesome. We just have a couple of more of those to do, and then we're gonna, this goes on for hours. I won't describe 2 hours of this wonderful stuff that you're hoping that you're gonna make it through. And then we're gonna have lunch in Gorp. Everybody remember what Gorp is? Good old raisins and peanuts. I know, way back. See, at least one person knows. Thank you, Steve. Okay, so, but we get steak on the side of the road, on the side, lunch. I'm like, how did they get lunch out here in the middle of these woods? But they did. They got a steak out there. So we go through a few more of these fun times, except this time, a couple of people in front of us, their boat folds, and a couple of people are out. And one of the things they tell you is if you get out of the boat, feet are up. Anybody know why? Yeah, it rocks. You don't want to get your feet stuck under there, and then it'll pull you under. So you're on your tushy, you're floating down, having a good old time, hoping you're going to make it, and somebody puts you back in the boat. So there was a couple of those. They gathered together, we made it through, it was fine. So as you can tell, it's a real fun time on this rafting trip. We're all looking at each other, having a great time. Mind you, there's people in the woods taking your picture. I'm like, what is up with this? Who is snapping these flashes at us when we're trying to row and make it through these things? It's like insane, right? So we have a good old time, we make it through it all, and we pull over and we have lunch. And everybody's sitting and laughing, wasn't that fun? We made it, was no big deal, blah, 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 right? Bellies are nice and full, and we're like, okay, we gotta get back in that cold water again. Because every time you hit your boat, it comes up over the edge, and you get soaked. Soaked like crazy. Which is good if you're warm, but there's a lot of tree, cold, all that fun stuff. So, we're traveling down the road, and they're like, okay, this is the fun part. Some of you can stay in, and some of you can get out if you want. Because it's not really rough here, and you can just glide along and have fun. But when I tell you to, you need to come back and get in the boat, because on down a little further, we have to get everybody in, and we need everybody here in order to get to the side. So that's where our drop-off is to get back in, because we traveled a long, long way in that little bus. It has to come back and pick us back up. So people jump out, get their feet up, they're floating, the ones that are in the boat still getting cues of calling to where they're supposed to go. And then we have to pick those people up and fight the current. So we get everybody in, we had a great time, nobody got hurt. We got great pictures of us holding on for dear life. And those wonderful pictures later that they want to charge you an arm and a leg for, but never mind that. So we go down and they're like, all right, see those people on the side, we got to get to them. At this point, the current's kind of heavy. So everybody is required to chip in and get us there. If we don't get there, on the other side, a ways down, but enough to be cautioned, is where it drops off. And nobody survives that, pretty much. So, you need to get to that side. So he starts calling out the cues once everybody's in the boat. And we're like, Paul, come on, all right, trying to get us over there. And everybody's digging in, everybody's looking at him, come on, why aren't you pushing? Come on, we need to get over there. And we're still going like this, and we're far away from the side. I'm like, what the heck is going on? He's like, you guys have got to dig in. This is not easy. Dig, 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 dig. Finally, we were like, oh my gosh, a couple of people just stopped and looked. And we're like, what are you doing? As we ride by our pit stop where we're supposed to get off. Great, now what? What are you doing looking over there? We gotta get over there. We have one last chance over here. So of course, everybody's realizing, if we don't get off on our second chance, bye-bye. So, everybody dug in. We got over there, we got safely. At this point, there's a few eyeballs looking around. I know you wasn't pedaling. You were doing your job. But I'm not gonna call you out, I'm just gonna give you that look, So, we all get back in, go back. So much fun, isn't it? I mean, can you imagine being in that life raft and counting on somebody to get you to that edge, otherwise you're gonna go over? That's responsibility. We were all responsible when we got in that boat to get to that point. And that means everybody has to help. Not just one can do it. I'm not gonna be able to get you over there, I'm definitely not strong enough, that's for sure. 4 of us, let's say there's 10 of us in the boat. Do we need all 10? Of course we need all 10. It's really important that when you're involved with something, that you can be counted on. That's our biggest thing in life. When everybody was in that boat, we're looking at each other and we're wondering, am I going to be able to count on these strangers that are beside me, or some of the people that even came with me that I knew? Am I going to be able to count on them and trust them in this raft to get me where I got to go? That's a big thing for a lot of us. I don't know if you remember way back, if you've been in school, you study way back, the communities used to work together. It used to be a group that would put their food together, that would, if somebody was sick, they would go to a family and help them. They lived in communities and depend upon each other. And that's really important to know that that person that's standing beside you is going to be there. One of the things that somebody shared with me in the military, the soldiers actually have a hard time when they come back here, because when they're out there, they depend on their buddy. They know without a shadow of a doubt that when they go into a combat, that that person right beside them is going to be there no matter what. There is no questions asked. None whatsoever. When they come out here, they can't depend on us, because we're not like that. How sad is that? It should be like that across the board. And we don't do that. Why don't we do that? What is our reasonings? What are we into? In Romans, it talks about, let me read one thing first. Our FC core value is called shared responsibilities. As members of the bodies of Christ, each member has gifts and is responsible for exercising their gifts in tandem with other members of the body. Maximum impact is contingent upon the coordinated, strategic efforts of our current volunteers and the intentional apprenticing of future volunteers. The major word right there in that whole sentence that stands out to me is maximum impact. Not minimal, maximum. That means we're counted on to do whatever we're doing in this world, or whatever responsibility you're involved with, whether it's here at FC, whether it's in your family, whether it's outside at your work. You're not supposed to be doing just enough to get by. We're all supposed to be digging in 100% or 110. And sometimes that's hard for us to do that. It's hard for us to go that extra mile. In Romans 12, 3-5, it says, because of the privilege and authority God has given me, I give each of you this warning. Don't think you are better than you really are. Be honest in your evaluation of yourselves, measuring yourselves by the faith God has given us. Just as our bodies have many parts, and each part has special function, so it is with Christ's body. We are many parts of one body, and we all belong to each other. Now, I'm going to read this in another version. They only do in, and I'll say, oh, they did put it up there? No, it's just on my screen, cheat sheet. Okay, so Living Bible Version, listen to this. It says, as God's messenger, I give each of you God's warning. Be honest in your estimate of yourselves, measuring your value by how much faith God has given you. Just as there are many parts to our bodies, so it is with Christ's body. We are all parts of it, and it takes every one of us to make it complete. For we each have different work to do. So we belong to each other, and each needs all the others. We need you. We need you. I need you. Pastor needs you. The people in the world need you. We can't do this on our own. And we got to just dig in and do that. We've all been at this place already recently as a church. We had our own raft. You know what that was? Over on Bullard Street. Yeah, baby, we were all stuff in there, snugly warm, comfy. And somebody said, hey, let's get out of the raft. What? Are you serious? For real? It's so nice here. There's lots of land. It's a great building except for the pool on Easter morning. You know? It's a great place. I'm all comfy in there. But we didn't. What did we do? We all jumped in that raft. We heard the vision. We heard the idea. We wanted to reach more people. We wanted to do something different. So we jumped in. We started advertising. We put our land out there. Now, was it easy for any of us? Was there kind of waiver forms going on? You mean I really got to sign off and go over there to a church? In a church? In a theater building? Is that really what we're going to do? How many things did you sign off on once that came out that made you a little bit scared? A little bit unsure? But you kept traveling forward, keeping in that raft, going on this trip with us. And it was scary. And then we had our time together, appreciating everybody, the volleys. Was that not fun or what? I had a blast. I love that. It was so awesome to do that and share and see how much of us came together and just showed our love and appreciation for each other that night. And then we said our goodbyes. We had our dinner, we wrote on the wall. I will never forget that. I have pictures in my phone of all the things that people wrote on that wall and the memories. Did we lose all those memories? No, they're still here. The building might be down, but they're still here, and we're still here. And it's really important during that time that we all dug in. I think some people bailed ship that we couldn't count on. Some we could count on and went to the nth degree, 110, I'm all in. Some of you have 1 foot in, 1 foot out, right? You all know where you were, where you stood at that time. And that's what God asks us to do, is to examine ourselves and where we stand in the responsibility of what we're supposed to be doing and the things that we do for God, for each other, our families, or even outside of here. It was hard for me, but I was excited. I mean, safety is a comfortable thing for a lot of people. Nobody likes to feel unsure. Nobody likes to say, okay, no problem, piece of cake, we'll deal with it afterwards. No, there's a lot of planning involved, a lot of elbow grease, a lot of rolling up the sleeves that we had to do and participate in different ways. And we had a guide leading us. Did we want to listen to those calls? Did we want it to go right? Did we want to dig in and hang on when they were being called out? Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Maybe you said, I'll just try anyway and see how it goes. But look at where we are. Look at where we came. It's been a long trip, but we're still here. We're still here strong. We're still really working at getting to where we're going to go. In here it talks about because we are a body working as Christ's body in our individual giftings. What is your gift here at Fellowship Church? Are you using that gift? Does it scare you to death to come up here? I have never been up here. I feel honored and privileged at the same time to be up here, that you guys would take the time to hear my heart to yours and do this. Is it my thing to be doing every Sunday? Heck no. No, but I don't mind sharing with you here or any other time 24/7. You know, I can't be everything. You guys can't be everything. Pastor can't be the arms, the feet, the hands. But can we count on him? Have we been able to count on him over and over and over? I think that most of you, if you thought about it, would say, if I needed something, Pastor Marty would be there. Not even without a shadow of a doubt. He wouldn't even wince. That's where we're supposed to be. That's what God calls us to be in our giftings. It doesn't mean you have to be up here preaching. Doesn't mean, it can mean just you sitting here in this congregation supporting. It could be you standing outside in the cafe. It could be you up here playing the piano and singing. There's many things to be doing here in Fellowship Church and sharing this. We can't do this by ourselves. You guys experienced that this morning. Some of you that's on staff. Truck doesn't work. What do? We say, oh well, close the cinemas, we're not having church today? No. No. What do? We dug in, we put things together, we made it happen anyway. For a reason. What's our reason? Yeah. That's what we're made of. That's what we're made of, and that's what we're supposed to do. But we can go further. We can go further than where we are. Can you be counted on? When's the last time you examined your heart? Does anybody know what that word examine really means? How do you think God, you think of God when he looks at your heart, you think you can see every little stinking thing in there by any chance? Maybe, just a little bit. You can't hide anything from him whatsoever. We're supposed to do the same thing. We're supposed to be that honest about our hearts and where we are and what does he want from us. A lot of times, people negate who they are and what God has done in their lives. And you don't, how do I say this delicately? You can't. God has asked you to step out and do that. And you need to just do it because in obedience, it makes a difference. Sometimes you got to do things that are hard for you to do. And then when you're on the other side, how do you feel about it? Me, example, yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah. I had to run 9 miles in preparing for a full marathon again that I accidentally got into a lottery. Lucky me and got picked. So, if some of you saw my Facebook posting, I put, gotta go run, feeling irritated. Okay? Quite irritated. I mean, who wants to go out and run 9 miles? Anybody? Besides Darlene. I mean, come on, really. Okay? You don't. You're feeling irritated. But when I got done and when I actually did it, I felt really amazing that I was finished, that I managed to make it through the whole time, that I did better than the last time. And what if I hadn't gone? I would know what I experienced. I would know that I had succeeded. I would know the change of coming from one place to the next place and becoming stronger, being better in that area of our lives. And I know a lot of you have a lot of things ticking on your heart. God's saying, come on, you know you want to go do that. You're like, no, God, it's not for me, really. There's plenty of other people in here who can do that, and they do it so much better than I do. Excuse me, talk to you, talk to you. I want you, okay? And we always want to say no, but the best thing you can do is to say yes. Does anybody ever not want to do something, and you're like, fine, I'll do it. And then on the other side, you feel better? Ah, a few hands. Now, can you imagine if you didn't do that? It's tough. It's tough trying to do what we're supposed to do, but it's really not tough if you think about the outcome of it.
Amen. About
the blessings, about how you touch people. I mean, I'm not a pastor, obviously, but in what I do, I minister to people. Everything that I do is an example and influence on people around me. Every little thing that I do. So you might not be up here in front, but what you're doing does impact those people around you. Can you be counted on? Can you make a difference where you are and where you're at? We're making a difference here. Do you want to continue? We're still paddling, folks. Are you going to listen to those cues? Are you going to keep on paddling? Can you be counted on? I hope so. One of my favorite scriptures is Philippians 3:12-14. I stood on this scripture when I graduated from high school. And it says, I don't mean to say that I have already achieved these things or that I have already reached perfection, but I press on to possess that perfection which Christ first possessed me. We forever negate, like I said earlier before, about what he's done in us. We shouldn't do that. We need to walk. Those were gifts put in us, and we need to walk in that. 13 says, no, dear brothers and sisters, I have not achieved it, but I focus on this one thing, forgetting the past and looking forward to what lies ahead. Don't look back. Remember that song? Don't look back. It's a great song for us. Anyway, don't banter yourselves. Don't pick on you. I haven't done, no. He put it in there, you need to do that. And 14 says, I press on to reach the end of the race and receive the heavenly prize for which God, through Christ Jesus, is calling us. We need to press on, folks. There's a prize. You may not see that prize. There's a lot of things unknown that you won't know how you're affecting people till later. My 5th year reunion, I found out 3 people, because I spent time with them, were going to commit suicide and didn't. Because I took the time during my study hall to sit and talk to them. I didn't find that out until 5 years later. You don't have any idea how you're affecting people. Can we count on you?